So I enjoyed Nintendo's E3 Direct so much yesterday that I had to spend the night thinking about it and collecting my thoughts, figuring out how I feel, just so I'm fair in assessing it and don't just respond to hype or emotions right away. And I feel like I've got a fair judgment of it at this point. I thought it was a really great Direct. I thought Nintendo put on a good show. It was shorter than the other E3 press conferences because it's the usual Nintendo Direct format. But because of that, it had basically no fluff. It had lots of great reveals in there, lots of unexpected surprises, while also talking about some things people were hoping for and expecting. And it was paced in a way that kept people entertained, and generally, from the reactions I've seen online since yesterday, most people say Nintendo won E3. I'm gonna go into it and talk about it, unless you already dislike Nintendo. Like, there are people out there who say, you think Nintendo won? What a kid, you're so dumb. But those are generally people who don't like Nintendo in the first place. For people who do, I think this is the best presentation for Nintendo to appeal to Nintendo fans. They put on a good show for the people who already love Nintendo, and they had some great games in there for people who aren't normally into Nintendo. So to start off at the beginning, like I said, it's the usual Direct format. They did a little countdown, and then they pulled a trailer right at the start, which is my personal favorite way to start a conference, especially when it's something people have been really looking forward to, which is a Smash Bros. Trailer. Smash Ultimate, a new character reveal for the DLC pack. Everyone expected there to be one in this Direct. However, it wasn't the one people were hoping for, at least in the West, because the character that they showed off is a character much more popular in Japan. A hugely popular character in Japan, but more in Japan than it is here. Which is why I saw a lot of people complaining in the stream, but there's a good reason why they revealed this first, which I'll get into. I'll cut to the chase. It is the Dragon Quest Hero. And they just call them the Hero because they initially only showed the Luminary, which is the Dragon Quest XI protagonist. However, it turns out that this character isn't just the Dragon Quest XI protagonist. You can actually switch between 4 Dragon Quest heroes. The ones from Dragon Quest 3, 4, and 8, along with 11. And they also have an alternate skin for each of those 4, which is pretty cool. It's like 4 characters meshed into one. And I know a lot of people in the West don't even know what these characters are, but Dragon Quest is one of the progenitors, one of the godfathers of the JRPG, or even the RPG genre in general. It's been around for so long, and it's sold a ton, especially in the East. So I'm really glad that they're here, and I think they fit a good role in Smash Bros. I also saw people complaining that they seemed like more anime sword fighters, but they're not just generic anime sword fighters. They use their swords in some things, but they do have a unique gimmick, which I'll talk about. But first of all, the trailer is pretty cool. There's an action sequence with lots of sword fighters fighting each other, Link, Meta Knight, and all that type of stuff before he rode in on a horse. And then he was in and then Dragon Quest XI, the Luminary, was in trouble after a little while, and then the other Dragon Quest heroes came in to save the day. I thought that was a cool introduction, and they also teased the stage there. But as for the unique gimmick of the character, it looks like they'll have an MP meter, a mana meter of some sort, kind of like how they have, or exactly like how they have in the actual Dragon Quest games. And along with that mana meter, there are special moves you can use. For example, they're using spells like Sizzle and Psych Up and Oomph and Snooze, which made enemies fall asleep. They also showed off Bounce, which reflect moves, Crackle Slash, which basically freezes enemies when you hit them with it, Ka-Clang, which turns you to metal and makes you immovable, so if someone hits you, you don't budge at all. There's also Zoom, which is a really powerful upwards recovery, and Kamikaze, which is like that bomb, like the suicide bomb in Smash Ultimate, where you just explode. It doesn't actually send you flying, but it sends everyone around you flying, and a really powerful knockback. And all of these use mana from what I've seen, which I'm not sure how it's collected. They didn't go into detail about that, but I thought this was a pretty cool mechanic. It seems to be quite a technical character, reminding me of Robin a little bit in a way, in that you have to manage certain meters and stuff like that. It's pretty cool, and I'm sure it'll be good for people who like technical type characters. Not really my type of thing, but I'll definitely try it out since I have the fighter pass, so I might as well. Additionally, they teased the map, which they didn't say the name of the map or show much detail of it. It was a very brief tease, and there's a screenshot showing one part of the map on the Smash Ultimate website. But it seems to be around Yggdrasil, the World Tree, which is very important in the Dragon Quest universe, I've heard. I haven't played any Dragon Quest games. I might play 11, but we'll see. I haven't played a single one, but it is around Yggdrasil from what I've read online. And there's also the white whale there called Cetacea, the sacred whale with wings. And we're not sure if that's just a background element or something you might be able to interact and ride on. It's pretty cool though, and they also have the iconic Dragon Quest slime in some of the taunts. And then the final smash for the Dragon Quest hero involves all of the protagonists from Dragon Quest that weren't playable here. From Dragon Quest 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. All of them are there in the final smash, along with the character you're playing as, which means that every Dragon Quest hero has some sort of representation in this character. That's cool. That's the best way you can do a legacy character of all of Dragon Quest history, showing off how much of an impact it had on the video game industry. I think this is a cool recognition of Dragon Quest as a series. And they showed off a lot of gameplay for the character and how it fights. It was a lot of fun, and I like that a lot. It's a good way to start off the trailer. And that led straight into a trailer for Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age S Definitive Edition. I know, tongue twister, Birth of Sleep, revamped, enhanced edition featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Regardless, we knew this game was coming. In fact, it was the first game ever announced to be coming to the Nintendo Switch, back when the Switch was first revealed. However, they did give a release date, September 27, 2019. I'm going to say every release date in this video. Some of these were already revealed beforehand, but I don't know which ones, so I'm still going to say the release date for everything here. But there is also a mode specific to the Switch version of this game, which is a classic mode, which is basically the whole game revamped to look like the classic Dragon Quest pixelated graphics format. It's not just a filter over the game though. It is completely revamped to look in that classic style, to play in that classic style. It looks awesome. I don't know how they did that, but it looks really cool and a unique way to play, and you can switch between them really quickly, so that'll be a Switch exclusive thing for this definitive edition. Next, Koizumi appeared to introduce the new representative Doug Bowser. Well, first it was regular Bowser, then it was Doug Bowser. For those who don't know, he is replacing Reggie Fils-Aimé. At the very least, even if we lose Our Body is Reggie memes, or Our Body is Ready, we'll at least have Bowser himself at Nintendo, which I swear half the reason he was picked was because of his name. But not to put him down or anything, I'm sure he's going to do the job well. The regular Bowser is a little bit confused though. He had to leave the stage because he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Doug Bowser began by talking about Luigis Mansion 3. A game people are expecting to be here, but they showed off a lot of detail about Luigi's Mansion 3, and it looks better than I expected it to be, because I was never into the original Luigi's Mansion games. I never played them as a kid, and they didn't interest me. However, Luigi's Mansion 3 seems way more intriguing for me, and I might actually get it. The trailer they showed off had a lot of gameplay and story stuff, not like there's much of a story here. Basically, this time they're at a big hotel. It's not a mansion, it's a hotel. Still called Luigi's Mansion, but it's just the name at this point. And basically, Mario and all of his crew, like Peach and lots of other characters, are trapped. Luigi, of course, has to navigate this hotel, defeat ghosts, knock their health down, and capture them as Poltergust in order to rescue his brother and all the other Mario crew. And basically, they showed off a lot of gameplay of it, including the Poltergust G00, which has lots of new features in it. And for those who don't know, that's Luigi's suction thing that could suck up ghosts. Some of these new features they showed off included Slam, where you can pick up a ghost and slam them on the ground to inflict damage and hurt other ghosts with it. Suction Shot, which fires a plunger to attach to an object, and you can pull it to destroy obstacles. So it looks like there'll be some more obstacles to navigate through in the map this time. Burst, which uses air pressure to blow away ghosts and to lift yourself up in case you need to get over a gap. And there's also a new invention from Professor Egad, which is Gooigi. And Gooigi was in, I believe, the 3DS remake of Luigi's Mansion, something like that, or like Luigi's Mansion thing for the 3DS. I didn't pay too much attention to it, but Gooigi is now in this game too, but he is very important to the gameplay here, because you can switch between him from Luigi to Gooigi to navigate certain obstacles, like slipping through fences or walking through spikes. He can help you with large obstacles and pulling them, or a co-op partner can take over as Gooigi. And this is my favorite part. It's completely co-op two-player through the whole game. A second player can take over Gooigi and do Gooigi's roles, so that you don't have to switch between Luigi and Gooigi anymore. You can play as one and the other. And that's pretty cool. I like co-op games, especially good for people with siblings who want to play it with them. Luigi does not mix well with water though, so if he steps in water, he will be in trouble since he's made of goo. They also talked about a new online or local mode called the Scare Scraper, which seems to take place in a sort of timed section. It's basically a building you have to work your way through the floors of, and there are certain objectives you need to complete in there within a time limit, and if you can make it, you succeed. And it's up to 8-player, local or online multiplayer. So this would be an option to play with friends online who also have the game. And they gave a release date, which wasn't very specific. All they said was it's releasing in 2019, which is this year's at the very least. It's not pushed back to next year. But they didn't give a specific day, so we're going to have to wait for them to tell us that. Then Bowser came back on to talk about Nintendo's Treehouse schedule. Every time I say Bowser now, it's going to sound weird. It's like, is this Bowser from Mario, or is this Bowser as in Doug Bowser? But he came to talk about the Treehouse schedule and what games will be playable there, and they're starting the Treehouse now, I believe, showing off gameplay, lots of gameplay of all the different games, or a lot of different games they have. Next was a surprise reveal, bringing back a really old sort of cultural thing. And it is the Dark Crystal Tactics, Age of Resistance. For those who've heard of the Dark Crystal, from what I know, it's kind of a cult classic movie. And I actually watched it a long time ago. To be honest, it kind of scared me as a kid. I watched it like one time as a kid, and it was a little bit creepy because it has that puppet, sort of Muppet style, but a little bit darker than the Muppets, I believe. It's also by Jim Henson though, so yeah, it's sort of the Muppety type movie thing. But it was quite good, the movie was. And this game seems to be a weird strategy-based game revolving around the world of that movie for some reason. I don't know much about this, to be honest. It seemed like a weird thing, but a neat reveal coming in 2019. It reminded me a little bit of Fire Emblem, but not exactly. And that's coming from someone who hasn't played Fire Emblem, so... so don't ask me for info based on that. Speaking of Fire Emblem, we'll get to that in a little bit, but the next thing they talked about was Link's Awakening. And they showed off a new trailer for the remake of Link's Awakening on the Switch. And it had a lot of gameplay in there, and they played a lot of gameplay at the Treehouse also. But just looking at this presentation in general, they had a trailer here showing off gameplay. It was on Koholint Island. It looks really cute. I love the graphic style they're going with here. I think that this will appeal a lot to newcomers into Zelda who want to play just something lighthearted, something family-friendly, something cute. And it's more for... I think this game is very suited for kids who parents don't want to play the darker Zelda games. But I do think that it would be fun also for even adults to play this game. But the main thing that they showed off at the very end, like the unique reveal that they never showed before, was the Dungeon Builder. There's an area where you can make your own dungeons by attaching rooms to each other, and by making it to the end of these dungeons, you can get different rewards. And these are called Chamber Dungeons. The player-made Chamber Dungeons. They didn't mention if they will be able to be shared online. I'm hoping they are, so people can make silly dungeons and share them with people. They might not be though, so I'm not going to say whether or not they are or are not. Regardless, you can make your own dungeons here, and it seems like a nice feature to add on. At the very least, even if you can't share them, people didn't expect this to be in the game in the first place, so it's still a neat addition. They also said that the game is coming out on September 20th, 2019, so that's the Zelda game for this year to look forward to. Okay, so these next couple of reveals are big for certain people. Like, these are very much classic games. And that's the Secret of Mana games. Secrets of Mana. There are lots of people who grew up playing these games. Like, some people grew up on Final Fantasy, others grew up on Secrets of Mana. And first of all, they showed off a remake of the third game in the Secrets of Mana series called Trials of Mana, which completely revamps the game, revamps the graphics, and remakes the game for the Switch, coming in early 2020. And I'm sure this is a really hype reveal for the people who grew up on this. Another hype reveal for the people who grew up on this is the Secrets of Mana collection, available later today on Nintendo Switch. And by today, I mean yesterday, because the presentation was yesterday, so you can buy this now. And it's a collection of the 3 Secrets of Mana games: Final Fantasy's Adventure, Secrets of Mana, and Trials of Mana. They're doing a lot with this franchise, and a lot of people, I'm sure, are glad that they're bringing this back. In fact, on the YouTube trailer for this, there are people saying that they were crying about it, like they're so happy. So I'm really glad that they're getting this game, even though it's not really a game I played. I would be happy if they brought back games I played as a child again. One thing I can think of is the Mega Man Battle Network series. I'd love to see those get revamped. But for people who enjoy this stuff, that is fantastic for them. Another surprise, and one that like no one expected, like maybe jokingly expected, because I know people meme this stuff online, but no one really expected this to happen. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2019. Most people don't think of the Switch as a powerful console. Sure, it can run games like Doom and Skyrim and stuff like that, but those are sort of older games too, even though Doom Eternal is coming. But those are very well optimized games, to be fair. But most people don't think of the Switch as being as powerful, because it's not as powerful as things like the PS4 and the Xbox One. But the fact that they can get The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt running on the Switch, probably it's going to run well, because knowing CD Projekt Red, they don't like putting out bad products. They want it to be good. They'll make sure it runs well. So I assume if they're putting it on here, they know that they can make it work. That's quite the technical achievement. I like that a lot, because that proves that developers don't have too much of an excuse for not having their games on the Switch. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is one of the largest, like, graphically intensive games out there. It has really good looking graphics, a really huge game of tons of content. So if they can get that working, then other developers shouldn't have an issue. And you can argue that The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is super well optimized because it's by CD Projekt Red, of course. But once again, that's not really an excuse. That means that these other devs need to get better at optimization, if anything else. Regardless though, this is really cool, and another fact I learned after this announcement is that it's going to be 32 gigabytes but on one cartridge. You don't have to download anything if you buy the physical version. And that's because they're using 32 gig cartridges for this game. So you can tell if CD Projekt Red is willing to pay the extra for 32 gig cartridges, they want it to be good. Which is really nice. After that was another game a lot of people are looking forward to and expecting from this presentation, which is a quick showcase of Fire Emblem 3 Houses. They had a cinematic trailer showing more of the story. They didn't really show any gameplay here, but there was a lot of gameplay in the treehouse after the show, which is fine. But this 3 Houses trailer, like, I was sort of trying to get what was going on with the story. I probably should rewatch this trailer, to be honest, because I didn't catch quite everything going on here. But it looks like the story is going to be quite a bit darker than what people expected it to be. A lot of people thought it would just be some sort of school life type game, kind of like Persona. You're just managing your classmates and relations while also doing this war stuff between factions and things like that. But it looks like there's a point where it skips to the future, and then there's going to be full-on war with deaths and all sorts of stuff going on with the other houses. It looks like the different houses could represent different things, kind of like Harry Potter, where one is like order, one is neutral, one is chaotic in a way, like bad, chaotic. And you're going to get to pick your house and see where it goes in the future. I think that's a cool concept. I'm personally not big on the whole school thing in RPGs. I prefer to be invested in another world without a school, you know, because I do school enough in real life. But if they do it well, it could appeal to the people who like games like Persona with that sort of school-based mechanic, while also appealing to the Fire Emblem fans with the strategy gameplay. Anyway, after Fire Emblem was shown off, they talked about Resident Evil on the Switch. And for those who don't know, Nintendo's been bringing all of the Resident Evil games slowly over to the Switch. They already have quite a few of them. Now they're moving over Resident Evil 5 and 6 to the Switch in fall 2019. This one's a little bit weird because Resident Evil 5 and 6 are kind of regarded as the worst Resident Evil games, in a way. They're not regarded that highly. However, after this, they should have, I believe, 1 to 6 on there, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. They have most of them on there now, after 5 and 6. And that means that they can get 7 potentially next, which is a big one. That one's one that a lot of people loved. And maybe Resident Evil 2 Remastered, potentially? I'm not sure. They could do that, though, if it's not locked to the other consoles. I think that could happen, potentially. After the Resident Evil stuff was a big reveal for a certain audience, for a series with a big cult following. The new Suda51 game, No More Heroes 3. The official new No More Heroes game. Suda51 is an artiste in games. Like, he does his own thing, generally. And people have been looking forward to him making a new official No More Heroes game for quite a long time, especially fans of the previous No More Heroes games. I never actually played the previous games, but this game seems really intriguing, and it definitely has the classic Suda51 flair to it. It looks like insanely over the top. Travis Touchdown is back to be a hero once again. And it's going to be on the Switch, of course, and it's coming in 2020. And he kind of teased this game a while back. Like he said if the previous Travis Strikes Back game did well, he would make No More Heroes 3. I guess Travis Strikes Back did well enough for him to warrant making a new official No More Heroes game. And I think this one is going to do better than Travis Strikes Back. So hopefully this game does well and we can get more games from Suda51 on the Switch in the future. Afterwards was Contra Rogue Core, which is a Contra game that was teased ages ago. In fact, many years ago, Konami teased this game. It's finally being revealed here. This was a reveal of it, and it showed quite a lot of gameplay. Now, I know a lot of people complained about this because this game doesn't look like a Contra game. It's not the 2D shooter type thing that Contra is known for. Instead, it's a 3D behind the back, like maybe cover shooter? I don't know exactly what's going on with it. It's not like classic Contra though, which caused a lot of people to complain. I'm gonna be cautious about this game. It looks like it might be alright, but it is Konami, so you always have to be careful with Konami games. Regardless though, a better announcement than that one, in my opinion, for people who love Contra is that the Contra Anniversary Collection, with a lot of classic Contra games, will be available later today on the eShop. Another instant release. Or another release on the same day, I should say. And by same day, that means yesterday, so it should already be out by now, which is pretty cool. Going back to Rogue Core though, I should mention, they said it was going to release on September 24th, 2019, and it will have local wireless co-op and online multiplayer for people who want that multiplayer action. So at the very least, even if the game is not that great, if it's atrociously bad, you can at least have a drink and have some bad fun with friends in a really bad game. I don't think it'll be that bad, but who knows. They showed off Demon X Machina after that, which is a game that's been worked on for quite a while now. They've showed it off at several presentations. But they gave a release date, September 13th, 2019, and they showed off a lot more in a new trailer, a lot more gameplay. They showed some new characters, and the new graphics, because it looks like they upgraded the graphics a little bit. And overall, like I played the trial of this game. It looks like it's quite improved from what it was originally, and it looks really nice now. So hopefully the game is actually good. I'd have to play the full game to really know it. We'll see when the reviews come out though. Now, continuing the trend of bringing back games that people played as a child, like getting all that nostalgia rush going again with remasters of classic games. Panzer Dragoon, a game people thought was dead, is coming this winter. But not the original Panzer Dragoon, a remaster of Panzer Dragoon with new graphics, a whole new style, and it looks really awesome. I never played Panzer Dragoon as a kid, but I've heard about it from people who really loved the game. And the people who love the game are really passionate about it. Like, they say it's great. It's one of the best games they've ever played, a lot of people say, who grew up with it, of course. And now they're remastering it, and once again, I saw a lot of people saying they're crying right now. This is one of their favorite games as a kid. It looks good though. I will say the graphics look good. The gameplay looks pretty good and unique. It's like, how do I describe it? It's kind of like you're flying on a dragon. You're shooting ships in front of you. There's like a targeting reticle and all sorts of stuff going on. You'd have to see the trailer to really understand how it works, but it does look cool, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it's good. After that, another thing people expected to be here was shown off, which is new news for Pokemon Sword and Shield. This showed the Pokeball Plus accessory functionality in the game, which I didn't care too much about since I'm not getting that, and some other details about the game. Most importantly, they moved on to another gym, which is the Water-type gym this time, and they had Nessa, which is the new gym leader there, which, if you guys have heard of the leak online, there's a leak showing off different features of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it mentioned Nessa, Milo, like lots of stuff that they showed off in the original Pokemon Direct. So this just puts further confirmation on that leak. If you don't want to be spoiled about features in the Pokemon Sword and Shield, don't look that thing up. I already did though, so I kind of know what to expect with the game at this point. But there were also two new Pokemon in there, one being an Electric Corgi, and one being a Dark Fairy Imp Pokemon, which were pretty cool. And those weren't shown off in this presentation. They were shown off in the treehouse when they played through. Oh no, they were shown off in the demo that people got to play at the E3 show floor, and I saw people show the Pokemon. So they were pretty cool. I'm not going to go into detail about those though. It was a very brief trailer they showed here. Next was Astral Chain, which is a game that many people forget about, I feel like. But it's also one of the games that I am most excited for in this entire presentation, because it's by Platinum Games, who very rarely put out bad games. Like, Platinum Games has a very great track record of making fun, hack and slash, beat 'em up style games with interesting stories and over-the-top action and cinematography. Astral Chain is no exception. It takes the Platinum Games flair and gives it a sort of extra-dimensional feel to it. Basically, they went over what the story is of the game. The main enemies of Astral Chain are called chimeras, who have their own dimension that they reside in. However, in this world, chimeras are starting to pull humans into their dimension, basically causing lots of trouble for humanity, and humanity is going to fall unless they have a way to fight back, which they have finally developed. They found a way to neurologically sync captured chimeras with human operators to make powerful allies, which are called legions. And you use your legions to fight the chimeras in battle. And the legions kind of remind me of stands from JoJo's in a way. They're almost like spiritual beings that fight for you, but you're fighting at the same time too. The humans and the legions are like two halves to one body. So when one is about to die, for example, if they're attacking the human's about to die, the legion will automatically come back or come out and protect the human because they're connected to each other. So I think if one dies, the other one dies too, so they try and protect each other. It's pretty cool, and I like the idea. And they showed a lot of enemies and monsters and the combat and gameplay, and it's coming out on August 30th, 2019. So fairly soon. It's only about 2.5 months. So I'm looking forward to that one a lot. They showed off a little Paradox interactive game after that one, which it was a very brief trailer for this thing. This is a game that's coming out not until next year. It seems to be a sort of detective style strategy game in a way. Like, it's very noir and that type of thing, sort of dark, and I remember a time when I fought crime. That type of thing, you know? It's called Empire of Sin, and it's coming in spring of 2020. The gameplay that they showed off was not final, since it's coming out next year, but it's a neat reveal for this presentation. After that was another game people expected to be here, which is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which is the big Marvel game for Nintendo. And this trailer that they had showed off the gameplay, the story, several villains, a lot more details about the game than previous trailers. And they also mentioned that the release date is July 19th, 2019, so next month. Only about 1 month left until that game comes out. I'm hoping it's good, because I'm quite interested in this, even more than the Square Enix Avengers game. And there's also going to be an expansion pass for Marvel Knights, X-Men, and the Fantastic Four coming in the fall, which you can buy the expansion pass today. Like, once you get the game, you can buy it immediately, and then they'll come in the fall. It's kind of like expansion pass. You know what to expect with an expansion pass. They did a brief little Cadence of Hyrule trailer, which is the rhythm adventure game by the Crypt of the Necrodancer developers, which merges that game with Legend of Zelda. And they said it's coming June 13th, 2019. It showed off some more enemies and bosses, and it just looked like another neat little trailer for it. And it's going to be $25. This wasn't in the presentation, but it was leaked online that it would be $25. So that's only $5 more than people expected it to be, which, from what I hear, is a pretty good price. So it's a little bit more expensive than original Crypt of the Necrodancer, but that's just the Nintendo tax, so that's fine. After that was Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, which is another one people expected to be here. And once again, a lot of these games people expected, but that's not to say they didn't look good at the presentation. I thought all these trailers looked neat, and they showed off a lot more details than they revealed before for this game. They had a lot of sports that they showed off, how they would work, and they looked fun. Actually, the minigames looked fun in this. And they did a lot of playing of this game at the Treehouse, so they did show off a lot more of these games in detail. But this game is coming to the Nintendo Switch in November 2019. And if it's really good, I might get it to play with my friends, since I'll be spending some time with them at the same apartment this fall. Finally after this one, we get the big reveal tons of people have been waiting for. Animal Crossing. This is personally my favorite game of this presentation. Just because I've never played an Animal Crossing, but I've always wanted to, and this looks like the best Animal Crossing to date. Like, this is probably the least disappointing of like anything I could think. Like, people would like, how could they disappoint us with Animal Crossing? Could they remove some features we want? Could they make it worse or anything like that? No, it has everything I think people could want from the new Animal Crossing. It's called Animal Crossing New Horizons. It looks really pretty. It has a really clean art style. You're on a basically an uninhabited island, and you're building a town from the ground up. You have full control over everything. There's tons of new items. There's new characters to meet. Tom Nook is still there to swindle you, as per usual. There's lots of new features to have. There's full multiplayer, both local and online and wireless, where you can have up to 8 people living together on the same island, progressing together, having your own house on the island. It looks really cool, and the game is releasing on, and this is the only downside, the only disappointing part of the game, and it doesn't have to do with the game itself. It's been pushed back, March 20, 2020. It was going to release this year, but it was pushed back to 2020, and they said that's to make the game the best they could ever make it, which I am personally 100% fine with. I am all for holding back games, delaying games until they're good. Now, if you delay them just because you don't want to show it off because you know the game is bad, that's a problem. But if you're delaying it because you want to make it better, because you want to make it good, I'm fine with that. And Nintendo has a good track record of delaying things because they want to improve them. So I'm sure that they're going to make the game as good as they could possibly make it, and I am going to play the crap out of this game. Like, this one is a guaranteed buy for me, 100%. After that was a big highlight reel, which they went through rather rapidly, but it showed off a lot of great games coming to the Switch. Like, a very few of these games, I think, are not that great. Especially the first couple here, which some of them people expect, some of them people didn't know at all and didn't expect at all. Especially the first one, Spyro Reignited Trilogy. This is one a lot of people were hoping for, but they didn't know that they would get it, and turns out we are getting it, September 3rd. And I'm going to kind of blast through these with some maybe quick opinions on some of them, because there's a lot of them, just games with titles and their release date. Hollow Knight Silksong, guaranteed purchase for me, going to be tons of fun, coming soon. Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. This was a PlayStation exclusive game for so long, but finally the Ni no Kuni JRPG, the original Ni no Kuni, is being remastered and coming to the Switch on September 20th. Minecraft Dungeons, coming to the Switch in spring 2020. People expected that one because they already put a trailer for that on YouTube, but even so, this is officially at E3. Blades, coming in fall 2019, which this one's more lackluster. That's the Elder Scrolls mobile game. My Friend Pedro, Devolver Digital game, coming June 20th, 2019. Doom Eternal, people knew was coming, but it says it's just coming soon. Sinking City, or The Sinking City, coming in fall 2019. I don't know what to expect of this game. It has to do with Cthulhu, so it must be pretty cool. Wolfenstein Youngblood is coming on July 26, 2019 to the Switch. So I guess every Wolfenstein game is going to be coming to the Switch, and this is no exception. Dead by Daylight, the sort of horror game where one player plays as the horror guy and everyone else is trying to survive and escape, coming on September 24th to the Switch. Alien Isolation, this one is a bit surprising, because it's a full-on horror game in the Aliens universe, coming in 2019 to the Switch. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered is also coming to the Switch this winter. They didn't give a specific day. Dragon Quest Builders 2 is another likely guaranteed buy for me, or at least a very likely purchase for me. Coming on July 12th, I'm going to have a lot of fun building in a sandbox adventure with friends. Stranger Things 3, the next Stranger Things game, is coming on July 4th, 2019 to the Switch. Just Dance 2020 is coming on November 5th, 2019 to the Wii, and also the Switch. Catan, which is the classic board game that a lot of people know and love. I played it before with my friends, and it's a ton of fun. Coming on June 20th, 2019 to the Switch. All of these are coming to the Switch. Super Lucky's Tale, an old school 3D platformer, is coming in fall of 2019. Dauntless, which is sort of off-brand Monster Hunter, but also looks quite fun, is coming in late 2019. And then Super Mario Maker 2 is coming on June 28th, 2019 to the Switch, and it's going to have a lot of gameplay for that at the Treehouse, which I think they already did also. And that was a rundown through basically everything in the Direct, other than this last thing. They had a surprise final trailer at the end here for Smash Bros. And people did not expect this because I know from what I've seen online, most people only expected there to be one character reveal at E3 2019. Nintendo made it sound like there'd only be one. But this was a second character reveal, and it started off exactly the same as King K. Rool's reveal. And for those who remember, King K. Rool is a classic character that a lot of people wanted in Smash. It was like a fan favorite thing that people wanted. Additionally, King K. Rool is made by Rare. And you can think, what other game was made by Rare? Banjo-Kazooie. That's right, they added Minecraft Steve to Smash. Okay, fine, it was Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, it was a funny trailer because initially it was exactly the same as a K. Rool trailer, except instead of just Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. being surprised by someone appearing, King K. Rool was also in there, and he was also surprised by that, which I thought was a neat callback since K. Rool was also created by Rare. But there's a shadow of Banjo and Kazooie going on here, and they were flapping the wings, and then it turned out it was just Duck Hunt Dog doing the same sort of joke that they did with King Dedede and King K. Rool in his reveal. And it was pretty funny. Like, I was seeing the reveals for the trailer, like reactions to the trailer, and everyone who's watching was like, Banjo-Kazooie! Oh, Nintendo. But then afterwards, of course, Banjo-Kazooie came in, kicked the Duck Hunt Dog in the face, and he looks good. I really like the model for Banjo-Kazooie. He looks cartoony as ever. It looks like a fun character to play as. They're swinging, they swing each other around, and they use the egg shoot while they're running, and also some Banjo-Kazooie moves. There's a better rundown on the Smash Wiki about the specifics of all their moves, because I never played the original Banjo-Kazooie games, so I have no like past history with them. But I do think that this was a good reveal, and there's a reason why they saved this character for last and showed Dragon Quest Hero at the first. Nintendo knows what they're doing. Sakurai knows what he's doing. You save the best stuff for last, that way people leave on a positive note, and needless to say, most Smash fans left on a positive note, other than people who really wanted Steve, but I'm someone who really wanted Steve, and I am personally completely fine with Banjo-Kazooie and really happy for all the Banjo-Kazooie fans, because that's a classic character in video game history that I feel deserves to be there. Plus, Banjo-Kazooie always felt like a perfect cartoony, silly pick for Smash, and the first Japanese style character. Like, first we had Persona, then we had Dragon Quest. This is the first Western style character in the DLC pack, which I like. I like having a little bit of variety here. So, talking specifically about Banjo-Kazooie as a character, it's releasing in fall 2019. Oh, and I should have mentioned, I don't know if I did, Dragon Quest Hero is coming in summer 2019, and there's also the Dragon Quest line that appeared. I think I mentioned that already, but yeah. But this is coming in fall 2019. And the stage is Spiral Mountain, which a lot of people predicted if Banjo would be there, it would be Spiral Mountain as the stage, which is like the main hub area of Banjo-Kazooie, I believe. But for the moveset, I've seen punches, there's jabs, they can shoot eggs while moving, you can swing the partners around to use them as moves, you can poop grenades, they use a bounce pad to sort of bounce up, you use golden feathers to use Wonder Wing, which makes you invulnerable and dash forward, damaging enemies along the way. But it looks like you have to collect golden feathers over time, or in some way you have to collect them because there's a limited amount and you use them up as you use Wonder Wing. Graytale, the main villain, appears sometimes on stage. I'm not sure what effect she'll have on it, but they showed her flying around. And the final boss is a mighty Gingenator, which appeared in the finale boss fight of Banjo-Kazooie. And you basically use it to just jab someone to death. I swear, they killed K. Rool in that trailer. Someone always has to die in these Smash trailers. They said that there would be more DLC to reveal in the future, of course, because there's 2 more members of this fighter pass to show off before next year, I believe. I think they're all supposed to release this year, or at least sometime early next year is whenever we should get the last character. I'm not sure when they'll release, but as of right now, there's 2 more DLC to reveal, and this is just speculation. My bet is that there's going to be more DLC passes in the future. I think they're going to keep adding characters to Smash Ultimate rather than make a new game, at least for a long time in the future. And that was it for the E3. You know, I thought it was a pretty good E3 presentation. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean there's one more thing? One more thing? There's one more thing in this presentation! Every E3 presentation has to have one more thing. One more thing. That's a reference from the Limited Run Games E3 presentation, by the way. It was kind of funny at the end. They were like, one more thing. Regardless, though, Nintendo's conference had one more thing at the end. And within the first 5 seconds, it was definitely a teaser trailer. It was a reveal teaser type thing for a completely new game they have. But the first 5 seconds, I saw the graphics and I was like, is this Breath of the Wild 2? I'm so invested in the game and know it so well, I could immediately recognize the graphic style based on just seeing a couple symbols fly across the screen. So I was definitely the first out of my friends to notice this. And turns out, it's a teaser for the sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. All it showed was a bit of the story. Like, and when I say all it showed, I thought this was a good teaser. Like, when they showed off the Elder Scrolls 6 teaser, it was just a title screen, basically. This showed the new design for Zelda with her short hair and stuff like that. Like, it's the same Zelda and Link from Breath of the Wild, but this time they're going on adventures together. They showed an elephant creature that they were riding on, which seems to be new. They showed off a new design for what seems to be the main bad guy, which seems almost like a re-dead Ganondorf type thing. But it's really dark. This game looks super dark, melancholic, like scary type thing. It's almost like the Majora's Mask to the Ocarina of Time. It's that type of thing where it takes the engine of Breath of the Wild, makes a whole new story, which it seems like it's going to be a lot more story-based. There's going to be more characters to interact with. Zelda might have a much larger role in it, rather than just through flashbacks for the most part, because she's actually going with Link. I don't know if she'll be playable or just a partner following you on the journey. Regardless though, she seems like she has a lot more importance in this. And it showed the new big bad guy, who they didn't say the name of, but it looks really, really dark. And I am so excited about this game. Also, Hyrule Castle for some reason flew into the sky. I don't know, some people are speculating it might have to do with space here. I'm not quite certain, but it could. Regardless, it seems so cool, and this is a definite must-buy, in my opinion. This is a game that I'm 100% going to get for the sole reason that I loved Breath of the Wild so much. It was either my first or second favorite game of all time. It's so immersive. You really feel like you put yourself in the shoes of a hero when you play Breath of the Wild, exploring an unknown world. And I had so much fun playing that, and if this takes this, gives it more of a story, and makes it a lot darker, and is a lot more streamlined, then this could be even better than Breath of the Wild. Who knows? Regardless, it's now in development. I don't know when it will come out. They didn't say when it would come out, or give an estimate for it. Next year, they don't have a Zelda game currently scheduled though, so it could be an end of next year, like holiday 2020 game. Just speculation here though, because this year we have Link's Awakening, and they tend to do a Zelda game every year, be it a spin-off, or a remake, or a new game. And this is a new game, of course, and they don't have anything planned for next year. So that's my guess. Holiday 2020. Hopefully it happens. Alright, looking back on the entire presentation, this is my longest E3 video I've made so far, and for good reason. There's tons of things shown here. From remakes of really classic games that tons of people have nostalgia for, to completely unexpected reveals like The Witcher 3, or things like Panzer Dragoon. They have things like, they have Spyro Reignited Trilogy, they have 2 new Smash characters, Breath of the Wild 2, Fire Emblem, Luigis Mansion 3, Animal Crossing, Link's Awakening, freaking Secrets of Mana, all that type of stuff. This was a great presentation, and I think it has a good mix of games that tons of people are going to enjoy. 2020 is going to be a packed year. 2020, I think, is going to be a fantastic year for gaming. This year is more of a break year, but 2020, when the new consoles come out, all these new great games comes out, I can't wait. My wallet can wait, though. I'm not ready to spend all this money on games. Regardless, as you can tell, I really love this presentation. I think this was one of Nintendo's best presentations they've done in quite a long time. Could it have been better? I hold that anything can be better. There's always ways to improve, and being that this is my first E3 coverage that I've ever done, I don't want to just give this an A, which is the high score. I don't give A pluses, it's just A's. So instead of that, I'm gonna give this an A minus. Room for improvement, but incredible conference. I thought it provided everything a Nintendo fan could ever hope for, and this sets the framework for the Switch to have another really successful year. Good job, Nintendo, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this E3 coverage, because this marks the end of it here. I've covered all the presentations that I care to cover, and I should get back to the normal content starting tomorrow with some more Starbound. We'll see though, I'm rather tired right now. I need to give my voice a rest. Hopefully you guys enjoyed all this stuff. I'm looking forward to doing this again next year, and I hope to see you all on the next adventure.